Hey, what's up guys? Alex here. Thank you for checking this video, and this is the third part of the series of tutorial WordPress 101 for beginner developers. Welcome to the third part of the series of tutorial WordPress 101 for beginner developers. If you missed the first two parts, you can go back and check the two videos, or if you don't want to waste time and you want to jump on the third lesson, you can easily download the first and second lesson inside the GitHub repo that I specifically created. You can find the link below in the description. But let's get started. The lesson of today is going to be focused on how to create a custom menu and how to display specific pages on specific section of our theme. First of all, you have to go inside your administration panel and create some generic pages structure. I created three pages: home, contact, and about me, just the usual normal structure that you find pretty much on every website. So if you already use WordPress in the admin panel, you know that inside the appearance menu you can find a subsection called menu to generate your own menu, but here you cannot find it. There's nothing here. So what's going on? Basically, because we started our theme from scratch, we don't have the specific function to call the specific theme feature. By default, WordPress gives you the ability to activate specific theme feature through the functions.php file inside your theme or inside your plugins. So let's see how we can do it. Open your text editor and access the functions.php. The super easy way to do this is just using a hook that WordPress gives us to activate the theme support. And the hook, of course, is called @_theme support. And we have a lot of theme support. We're not gonna go through all the different features that we can activate for now, because we need menus activated. We can just activate menus, writing menus as a string inside the theme support function. This is okay if you're inside your functions.php file inside your theme, but if you need to activate a specific theme support when you create a custom plugin, it's better to put this hook inside a function. And just because I'm super picky and I have a kind of an OCD, it's better to use the functions so we can keep track and we can decide whenever new feature has to be added to our theme. So let's create a function. Function awesome theme setup. As I said in the previous lesson, always use unique name for your functions. Let's put the theme support hook inside our function to create the menus, and let's call with an action this function, and I want this function to be executed after the setup theme is triggered. So I can specify after setup theme, and then I want to call, of course, my function that you can just copy paste to avoid typos. So let's take a moment here. I created this action like I did in the previous lesson to include my custom JS and custom CSS files, but this time I set to WordPress to execute this function after the theme setup is done. If we wanna edit, activate specific theme features, we have to trigger these functions before two specific moments. We have just two options, or as I said, after the setup theme or during the initialization of the theme. If we specify this action and these functions after these two methods has been triggered, our function is not gonna work. So always remember, or after the setup theme or after the initialization. For now, I'm gonna leave it on the init action because later on we're gonna add more functions, more hooks inside this function. So leave it like that. Save our functions PHP file, and let's go inside our administration panel. Reload the page and see inside the submenu we have the menus options because we activated that feature, and that's amazing. So now, before creating a new menu, if you already know how admin WordPress works, before creating a new menu and adding our pages to generate our menu, I want to create a custom menu inside my functions panel. A custom menu, a specific unique menu, gives you the ability to call that menu wherever you want in your administration panel. It gives you the ability to recall and decide which menu you want to display in which specific pages, section, or post. And this is really powerful. So even if right now we don't need it, let's get used to it. Let's open again our editor. And because I want to create this new support inside at the same time of my team support, I can just extend the team setup function that I just created. So let's create a bit of space and let's use the WordPress hook called register nav menu. To register a nav menu, we have to specify just two values. The first value is called the theme location, and it's basically the unique name of our menu and has to be treated as a slug, so a lowercase single name. So let's call it primary because this is gonna be my primary menu. And the second option is a description, just to help us or help other users that are gonna use our theme to understand what this primary menu is. So super simple, primary, header, navigation. Let's close it with semicolon. Just save it and let's go back here. Let's reload our page, and as you can see, WordPress by default grabs all the pages that you have and create a custom home link that points to your WordPress URL. We're not gonna use this by default because I created mine. In the future you're gonna understand why I created my own home link, but for now just keep it like that. So let's generate this menu and call it main navigation. Create a menu, and as soon as the menu, a first menu is being created, a first or second, but as soon as you have at least one menu generated in your appearance panel, you're gonna have access to manage the locations and a new menu settings. So as you can see here, you can specify the menu location. And do you recognize this description? This is the same description that we use in our register nav menu hook. So let's go back on the admin panel and let's check this one and save the menu. If you access this section, manage locations, you're gonna have a list of all the menu that we're gonna create, and you can easily assign a specific menu that you custom created to a specific location. Now what we have to do, we just have to simply print our menu on our home page, on our header. How are we gonna do? Super easy. I want my menu to be visible in every pages, so I want it in the header before the generation of the index. So I can just insert here right after the opening of the body tag. So let's open our PHP script, and by default I could simply call this. This is another hook, this is another function for WordPress that simply calls whatever menu you have created in your administration panel. This hook is really powerful because by default grabs the first menu available. So if you have a really simple site and you have just one single menu, you can use these functions like that. But like how we're gonna do later. Just reload the page and check, see how our menu has been printed. Our menu is pointing to our specific pages, and we have a super easy structure that we can use with our CSS style to make to create a good looking menu. But if, for example, how we're gonna do later, we're gonna create new menus and we want to use specific menus for specific section, we need to understand what kind of parameters this hook gives us to call our menu. So if you check inside the codex of WordPress, this hook, WP nav menu, has a tons of options, a tons of parameters. You can change the structure of the list that WordPress prints after you generate the menu. You can edit the walker, that is a really powerful function of the nav menu hook. You can manage pretty much everything of your menu, but for now, don't think about it. That could be too confusing for you. So for now, let's just focus on calling our custom menu that we just generated. To call a specific menu, we have to specify the theme location, and the WP nav menu hook accepts an array of parameters. So we have to open an array, and inside this array, we can specify just the theme location. And if you already know a little bit of PHP, you know that how is the syntax of the array, and the theme location has to be the same name as we specified in our functions.php file. Theme location primary. Save it, and let's go check in our front end. Reload, and of course the menu didn't change because we point the same menu that this was before. Let's extend a little bit this. Let's say that now in the footer I want to just the about me and the contact page link, so I want a different menu. This is super easy to do. Just go in your functions and register a new nav menu. You can duplicate this line and call this menu secondary, and as a description, footer navigation. So now if you go inside your administration panel and reload the menus, you're gonna see that inside the options of theme location, you have these other options for the footer navigation. And inside the manage location, you have the same option, and you can easily select another menu. So imagine how powerful this can be. If you have tons of different menus for different sections, you can easily manage everything without getting too confused. So let's generate a new menu, create a new menu, and call it footer navigation. Create the menu, and as we said before, let's add just the about me and the content page and just reorder it, and select the theme location as a footer navigation and save it the menu. If we go in our front end and we reload the page, nothing happened because in the header we just specify to call a specific theme location, in this case primary. What if, as I said before, I want to print the menu in the footer? Just to save some time, copy the function, open your footer, and before the WP footer hook to call our functionalities, we can insert inside here. This is my footer. Let's pass these, and as a theme location instead of primary, we're gonna call the other nav menu that we recorded, that we created, secondary, and save it. Let's go in the front end, reload, and that's it. We have two different separated menus that we can call and print on every section we want. And these are two completely independent menus. And with these functions, with this method, this is gonna be super easy for you to manage multiple menus for multiple sections without losing your mind. So that's it for today. I know this is a super quick lesson. It's way shorter than the previous video, but this is a really important functionalities for your menu. So I suggest you to experiment a little bit with this function and get confident with menus and get confident with multiple menus in multiple sections. Thank you again for checking this video. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel. And as usual, if you don't give a shit, it's fine, totally fine. Thank you for checking it, and I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you next week for another tutorial. See ya!